Hello and welcome back. It's lovely to have you with us. Have you had an hour in the sun? I hope you have. I hope you've been soaking up the sun. Lily says, unfortunately not. No, we've all been a little bit busy in here, so we'll enjoy it later. So I hope you're having a fantastic bank holiday, or Memorial Day if you're over in the US, which leads me straight into the first thing I want to tell you. On our website all weekend until midnight on Monday night, we're extending it through to Monday because it's a bank holiday or Memorial Day, we have got an extravaganza. So this is all about the amazing sales. Now, our team have been very clever and they've put together some bundles, some very, very special bundles. And you need to go and have a look at them. We've not got them in the studio. They're there on the website for you. But every single bundle has 70% off. Absolutely brilliant. Now, it's not up to 70%, or some have 70%. All of the bundles have 70% off. So go onto our website, scroll down just a little bit there, 100k giveaway. There we go. And that is going to find, you're going to find all of those on there. There are, I can't even see how many, it said, there's so many. Look at those. And as you said, bundles. Bigger bundles, smaller bundles, whatever suits your budget, but 70% off everything. So go and have a look before those little red trolleys appear, because once they appear, they are sold out, and I don't think they will be coming back. So yeah, lots and lots for you to choose from on there. So make sure you pick that up. There you go. So talking of deals, we've got another deal. Now, we have two weekend wonders today. We've got this one and our lovely crafter over there. So let's have a look who is over there, and then I'll tell you about this weekend wonder as well. Are you ready, Jan? I can see you adjusting. She's dusting down. She's showing off that lovely top that's getting a lot of love on our socials. Have you had a nice hour? Have you had some rest?
I have. I feel very guilty because I know you've been very busy and I've been sat there having some lunch. So yeah, I'm feeling a little bit guilty at the moment because our poor Corrine's running around like a headless chicken today, but bless her, fantastic job. But yes, I am really looking forward to this one. I love that first look at something new. So it's like tempting you, it's like just dangling that carrot, and they're not going to be long before the launch. We'll tell you a little bit more about that, but I've got some nice demos lined up to show you how to use them ready for when you get them in your basket and get them home.
Really, really excited. Lots of you are joining us. Oh, I don't like the look of that. Who was it I just saw? Rachel Norton says, hi there from cold South Australia. Oh, I'm sorry. We do shout when it gets warm here because we don't get it that often. So I'm sorry, Rachel, if we are rubbing it in, because it really is gorgeous. Other than that, it's the same team here, apart from Rachel has been substituted with our Susie then this afternoon. Hiya, Susie. We've also already got Mary Beth Doyle, Carol Guy from sunny Wisconsin. We've got Laurie says, hello friends and happy Saturday from Gilberto, Arizona. Just now peeling my eye open, was a good day to sleep in. Oh, there we go. We've got Barbara from Trutwin, Palmer. It says, hi, I'm joining from Wisconsin. So there we go. Right, now I mentioned our weekend wonder deal. This is a brilliant, brilliant deal, and apparently it has been very popular. Now, is it the price that's making it popular? Is it the double points that you can see down there that's making it popular? Or is it what we're going to be giving you in this bundle? Or is it just all three? Who knows? Now, you're going to get $59.91 or $81.71 worth of value. So it's meant, but you're not going to pay that. You're not even going to be paying half of that price. Your price today, as you can see just down there, is £25 or $35. But remember, for all of our platinum members, and really most of you probably are platinum members, £20 or $28. And as I've already mentioned, just down there, just tickling that one, double points as well. So even though it's less than half price, you're nearly going to get your full value of points. So should we have a look? We've got two up here from our Say It With Flowers. Now, it's called our Sentiment Mystery Bag. So that's the theme running through. It's all about the sentiments. Might be stamp sentiments, might be die sentiments, might be stamp and die sentiments. But sentiment is the link for everything. So you've got your stamp set first with all of your lovely sentiments. Then you've got this gorgeous die for your happy birthday. 2-layer die that's going to cut out gorgeous details. You've got your chalkboard stamp. You've got a couple here from our punch collection, but they will work on anything. You've got, am I going the right way? Yes, I am. You've got your fancy sentiment, your masquerade ball with some gorgeous backgrounds. You've got one from your pop-up or your confetti collection that's got lots of embellishments. And finally, you've got your frosty and bright down at the end with your Christmas as a die, and then all of the accessories as stamps to go with it. So yes, that is absolutely brilliant. All of that, there you go, down there, £20, $28 and double points. So that is brilliant. So that and your extravaganza that we've got on the website, I'll make it a wonderful, wonderful day to shop today. Now, on Friday, we are launching our gorgeous decorative panels. But we like to give you a little bit of a hint before then. So you're going to get, now when I say 4 die sets, you're actually going to get 8 sets of dies. So, but at each one, you're going to get 4 pieces. So this is your foxglove. So you get in the outer and the inner twice. One's sort of like the floral, one's a little bit more foliage. So that's your foxglove. Then you've got your rose, again floral and foliage, and your gerbera, floral, and then a much smaller. Now you don't have to use them together. As you see on the front of these packs, they've sort of used them together, but that's just so that the packing can show them both. And again, this one here is your helleborus, or your hellebore, so you can use that one there. And the sort of things that you can be doing is, look at that popping out of your card, just with a little bit of colour, inking through the die on that one, if you're not into your colouring. This one is so pretty. Again, inking through the die works really well. 2 the same, cutting them out in black. Doesn't that look stunning? Or I've got a couple here where you can actually colour them after they have been die cut, and I think our Jan's going to show you a little bit of how to do that. That's been coloured but through the die. Now I had to show you this one. Look at this little bag. I don't know who did this. I wonder if it's Sandy. I think it might be. It just feels like one of Sandy's. I apologise if it's not. You've got this little drawer set, I think. Oh yeah, it's a little box. There you go, opens up. But look at that with the gilding waxes. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? Now, if you want these, obviously, as we said, these are going to launch on Friday, so tune in, hopefully with our Craig. But Jan's going to show us her favourite ways to use them.
I am. I've got some more samples over here, which I'll show you. Do you want me to have a look at those now, or shall we do them in a little while? Shall we do some more? I just think the inspiration is amazing. And number one just happens to be by our very talented Lily. Not only is she a crafter, she's a craft demonstrator, she's a presenter, she's in the producer chair today, but this is what she does in her I'm saying spare time. Do you have any spare time, Lily? No, not really, she says, but yeah, absolutely beautiful. So just using a single panel here and then die cutting onto white card and using those beautiful tri-blend brush pens that we had earlier, which is what I'm going to do in my first demo. I'm going to try and show you some different ways to use them, but absolutely stunning. So you can use them just the one on their own. You may want to use both of them together. So you can see here, shall we turn it the right way around? You can actually read it. Yeah, there we go. Look. Viewers? So you can see there where we've put 2 in that one, and you can see there's just a little bit of vellum on the back of it there. And then we're just saying, we're still playing Spot the Paper Pad. For those of you that were watching earlier will know what we mean, but we had a game earlier on Play Your Crafts Right where we had to guess the paper pad. And ever since then, it's like every time you look at a paper now, that one's fairly straightforward, isn't it, that one? And then again, bringing them into your sort of more concept cards,
Oh,
so your
that's
stepper
pretty.
card. I think that's really pretty. Just cut, and these dies either cut straight into your card, so you can cut into the card blank, or you can cut them with the edge piece as a topper. And again, that's what my job is today, to show you how these work. But again, you've got the stepper card, or how about doing them horizontally on your Z fold? That's really pretty, isn't it? So again, an alternative way to use them. Again, hopefully if we can fit all the demos in, just something simple like a bookmark. So I've got one of those lined up if we can get through them all. And then of course, you know, not just your gift cards, you've actually got, you know, we all love making our boxes. So again, in the top of a box, absolutely beautiful. And just a massive shout out to the design team. It's like we couldn't do our job here without them. And they come up with the most stunning, stunning samples. So there are far too many of them to name them individually, but thank you guys, because without that support, we would be struggling without a doubt. But that is just the epitome of how to use, and these have all been used around the side of the box. Been very cleverly done. It's been left blank at the top so that the lid can fit without actually covering up any of those dies, and then just some beautiful decoration on the top. So yeah, absolutely beautiful.
That's a keepsake box, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? I'm just trying to think of what you could put in there that would be really, really nice. Right,
Lily says chocolate. She says chocolates to everything.
Right, I'm just going to pop all those to one side, and then I'm going to bring in my foxglove to start with. I was just looking through them thinking, what order do I do them in? Is there a particular order? But yeah, they're so pretty. The concept behind this is ingenious, because you have got two completely independent die sets within one packet. So it says 4 pieces, and that's because you've got 2 cutting elements. If I bring that over my cardstock, you can see there. So there's 2 cutting elements that give you the design, and then you've actually got not just one which fits both die, but we've given you the 2 external edges. So you could actually cut all this in one pass through your Gemini if you so wished. So you've got the choice to cut this into a design, which, as I say, I'm going to try and show you through the course of the demos. If you put the external cutting edge with it, it's going to cut you that topper out. Now they're all roughly the same size, and I say roughly because there's an odd sort of 1/4 of an inch here and there, but you're looking at around about 2 inches by 5-ish. Some of them are a little bit shorter. I know one of them is 1 3/4 inches wide by 4 3/4, but if you work on that 2 by 5, it gives you an idea. And I like the fact that they are only that size. They're not a 6-inch die, which means that you've got to make big cards. The fact that it is only the 5-inch height means that you can use them on smaller designs, because not everybody likes making those bigger cards. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to show you simply how these cut into some just plain multi-purpose card. Now, as always, I've done some of this prep at home because, like I said earlier, you know, the colouring does take a little bit of time. So what I've done, I've essentially got my card blank, which is a 5 3/4 square, and I've done a fold back design on it here. So I'm actually going to decorate the inside, and I want to have this panel on the front here, on that fold back. So what I'm going to do is just pop a little frame around it so that it highlights what we've got going on in the middle. So all I've done is I've measured my panel 1/4 of an inch less than the size I've got here, and then I measured a second panel that was 1/4 of an inch smaller again, of the size of the white one. And then all I've done is I've used that external cutting edge, just placed it on centrally, trying to make sure that I've got an even border all the way around. Cut the inside out, which gives me a frame now that I know my die is going to sit inside beautifully. Okay, so let's have a little look then. I'm going to use that as a guideline to do exactly that. So I don't need the outside one, I'm just going to cut the inside one. Okay, and I've got the wrong die there. I want that one. So one of them's sort of more of a focal point. So in this particular set, you can see one of them's got those beautiful foxgloves as the focal point. The other 2 are still the same theme, but there's more foliage, and you've got more of the foxglove little buds on this one. So they do complement each other, whether you want to use one, either or, whether you want to use them as a duo, whether you want to use all 3. There are so many different scopes, and you know that's something that I'm always talking about, is that a product that's got more than one use. So if it will do more than one thing, it's in my basket without a doubt. It's like, if just a one-trick pony, I have to think twice about spending the money. But I do like to find products that can give us that sort of variation. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to use that little frame that I've cut there to sort of centre where I want to cut the die. And then make sure I've got that the right way around. And then I'm going to centre that one inside it. And when I'm happy with that, I'm going to take that little frame away. And then we're going to stick this down so that it doesn't go anywhere. Okay. And then we're going to pass that through our die cutting machine. Now the fact that these are 2 by 5 inches means that they will fit through your smaller machines. So definitely through your Gemini Junior, they will definitely fit through your MIDI. And if you're just cutting a panel like this, if it's just that wee bit narrower, they will also go through your mini die cutting machine. So you've got the whole caboodle there. A lot of it depends on the size of the cardstock you're cutting, which we've often said. So I've got my sandwich in there. I've actually got mine in the junior plate, so I'm just going to turn it this way because my junior plates go through on the sideways there. And it's always, you will get optimum productivity out of your machines if the fewer cutting edges go through the machine vertically. So if I was using my large plates, I would have had that this way round because the rollers come this way and it's going across the 2-inch width. Because I went through the smaller machine, with the smaller plates, it goes through this way, and again, that 2-inch rather than it going through the 5. Just a little tip for your cutting machines. So pop those to one side. Now they do actually emboss beautifully. So having said that, I'm going to do the emboss on it, which is why I'd got that extra mat out. So I'm going to leave this in here and pop my embossing mat in. So this has actually turned the other way up now. I've actually got it with the metal die face down. And I'm going to put my embossing mat over the top of where it's just cut. Rule of thumb, take this one out. This one never plays with this one. For some reason, they are not friends. That one has to stay. Otherwise, you will make a really nice pattern on your embossing mat that is very hard to change. Once it's done, it's there.
That was my very first time using my Gemini. I thought I knew better. When I first joined, I was adamant I knew best. Ignoring everything the manual said, I kept my magnetic shim in with my embossing sheet, and you know what, it just went straight through it.
Yeah. You know, it's very, very, sometimes if you're just starting your journey, it can be a bit confusing when we refer to this as an embossing mat, because you think, oh, embossing folders, I need the embossing mat. It's actually for embossing your dies with, okay? And because we're adding in a shim that's got some thickness, it's not mega thick, but it has some thickness, we have to swap it out with one to make room for it. It's as simple as that. It's all explained in your guidance for your machines. So once we've got that at the ready, I'm going to take away the tape, and again, I should have really done that before I popped it through the...
But it holds it still, and it's a...
Yeah, but when you're embossing...
It's a crafty dilemma, isn't it?
It's sometimes better to take it out. But if you just roll your tape, rather than ripping it off like the old Band-Aid, then sometimes you can get away with peeling it back and it not actually doing any damage to your card there. But yeah, sometimes I will, if I remember, I will take the tape away before I do the embossing. So stick it down to die cut it, but once you've embossed it as well, it really does seal the deal. So again, yeah, just rolling it. I just want to try and get it off without doing too much damage. So rolling that tape back rather than pulling it seems to give less chance of it catching your cardstock there. And then I prefer to turn it over and lift it off this way, okay? Now, I want to see if we can just catch the detail on here before we go any further. Can you see just that extra pass through the machine brings out all that beautiful embossed detail there?
That really
so
does.
It gives you the guide if you're colouring. If you wanted to do this on a plain piece of cardstock that we're going to do later, and we're just going to run some mirror card through to show you, we'll be able to see this in much more detail. But it's worth it. Sometimes you'll get this indentation just with the die cut, but by adding that embossing, that rubber embossing mat in, that's what the job is. The idea is that it squidges all the bits of cardstock cardstock into the die where there's a gap, and you get this beautiful texture on there now that's starting to show me exactly where those flower heads are from the point of view of adding some colour. So I'm just going to find, there we go, my cardstock that I had earlier. Move those bits out of the way and bring in, again, a couple of my tri-blend brush pens. So I've got my Hydrangea and I've got my dull green, and these are both in the pack that we have on offer that we had on the previous show. So again, it is, you know, if you don't like colouring, then what you can do, and again I will try and show you this later, is leave this in place and use your little finger daubers with the ink and actually go through and use your metal die as a stencil, and that will apply colour to wherever you've got the gaps in the die. All right, slightly different look to when it's all coloured in. Alternatively, like I said, cut it out of your really nice luxury card, the glitter card, the mirror card, that kind of thing. Or you can take your pens if you like colouring and you can just have a little look. Now I tend to use the packaging for guidance. We always put you some inspiration on the packaging. So if you have a look on here, this one's being coloured in beautifully, and it does give you a sort of an idea as to where you need to go with your colour. So I'm literally just taking my alcohol markers directly to that paper, which is my multi-purpose cardstock, so it is fine. Now normally if I'm alcohol colouring, I'll work with Neenah cardstock, but I don't think the Neenah's thick enough for this kind of design. So you want a nice smooth cardstock, and the multi-purpose will do the job perfectly. So again, all you need to do is just take your time and add the colour. So I'm going to go down the green areas first. And again, you know, you can decide, do you want this to be completely coloured? Do you want it to be layered? So, you know, you might just want to do what I call flat colouring and just add the one layer of colour. It may be that you want to start and bring in, you know, a little bit more. And I'll try and show you both. So I'm going to come so far down with this, and then I'm going to swap to my
I'm
green.
quite a messy crafter. I find if I was doing that, I would stick some masking tape down the side.
Yeah?
That's what just because I'm ever such a messy crafter, and I find it really hard. You're very neat there to stick to the line, not to the, you know, to not go over.
You mean the outline
but
bit?
Almost to give me a frame.
Yeah, I get what you mean, yeah. So again, I'm just going to add some of the lilac in now on those little buds. And I can actually see now where that embossing is as to which bit needs to be which. Okay. Now you can have, like I said, just the one layer. And it looks, you can see that's coming out beautifully already. It really is. But if you've got that little bit more sort of advanced with your colouring, you know, you've got that facility with your pens now to maybe start and add a little bit of shading. So again, thinking about the flowers, they are usually a wee bit darker where they've come from the bud, which is up at the top of the flower. Now, I don't claim to be any sort of expert where colouring's concerned. I do my own thing. And as I say, I've learned a lot from our Leanne. But just take it nice and steady. And then again, back to that light one. Just nudge it. Little tiny bit so that that darker shade blends in to the lighter one, and that's as simple as it may need to be. Again, I'm going to go with the mid-tone in the green, and I'm just going to add a little bit more of that darker shade just in places, doesn't have to be all over, and then go back to your lighter colour and just nudge into that darker one, so that it is basically allowing the alcohol in the markers to bleed into each other, and you get that sort of seamless blend from one to the other instead of it looking like lines on top of each other. So just, and then give it a second or two. The thing to remember with alcohol colouring is that the alcohol needs to evaporate. So when you look at it, you might think, oh, that's not done what I want it to do. Give it 30 seconds or so for that alcohol to evaporate, and then sort of check it. And then sometimes I'll go back in again with that darker shade again, because you can layer the same colour. Once it's dry, you can layer with the same colour. So this is the mid-tone again. And you can just see how that's coming together now. And again, I'm not going to spend an age with the colouring because we are sort of looking to show you the ideas with it. But when you've finished, you can see there where it's sort of heading with it. And all I've done with this, I added the third blend, so I added the deep blend of the hydrangea as well. You can just see we've got a bit of that. And then I use my white highlighter pen on it as well to just sort of, as if it's catching the light there. So you can just see, and literally just scribbled the little white bits on, just where the light's catching it. And then I've popped some vellum on the back. I just wanted it to have that sort of translucent background. It stabilises it a little bit and it just gives it that nice soft tone behind it. So that's where I've headed with that one. And then I've also done the other die as well. So the other die in the set is very, very similar themed, but you've got a little bit more foliage and just the little buds of the foxglove there. So when you get them together, they really do complement each other beautifully. And then we're going to use those in our design just to pop a card together for you and try and show you different ways to use them. So like I said, I've got my 5 3/4, I'm telling fibs, 6 inches. So this was a piece of 12, scored at 6 and then scored again at 3 and folding back. All right, so we've got the guess the paper pad again, guys. Now that one's a tough one, but if I show you that side,
oh, our Lily was quick there.
Oh, Lily's all over it, bless her.
Summer meadows.
All over it. Oh, you know, me too. I absolutely love it. And I like both sides of it as well. Yeah, I must admit. So all I've done is some simple matting and layering. And I've chosen a coloured card blank. So I've gone with my first matte layer in white this time. So it's like the opposite. I often do the white card blank and then do the matting and layering. So I don't think there's particularly a right or a wrong way with that. So we're going to go, I think that looks okay that way.
Is that white on there or is it like silver? It looks beautiful.
On the paper?
Yeah.
You've got some white on it and then there's that lovely sort of neutral shade in the background.
Oh no, the white almost looks foiled from on the camera.
And then this is actually the reverse side of it. So it is quite a heavily patterned one on the reverse. Yeah. But I'm actually going to put this panel on here. So I didn't want this to be too busy to detract from my panel that's going to be sort of like a focal point. So this one's actually going to be on the inside of the card. So I thought we could get away with a little bit of patterning going on with that one. Okay, so we'll just use, and again, don't ask me why I flitted from tape pen, from glue to tape pen to glue. It just depends what mood I'm in, which one I pick up first. And I've actually gone for the tape pen in this one, whereas it could just as easily have continued with my all-purpose that I was using earlier on if you were watching this morning. So that's those two. And then what we're going to do with this one is we're going to pop that little frame around it. So again, because that's just a smaller piece, I'm going to go with that little fine nozzle on my tacky glue there because it's perfect to just run detail on here.
It just shows, doesn't it, how many different adhesives you can use. Now you could have done everything that Jan's shown you with maybe your tape pen.
Yep.
It's entirely up to you, but we just sort of show you how you can mix and match them around.
So that one is just literally going to sit over the top with an equal border. And again, with the wet glue, you've got that little tiny bit of wriggle time to just move it into place, which I think is why I like it for this kind of
that colouring is
project.
so dimensional. It's beautiful.
Okay, so this is now going to be my panel to go on the front there. So again, I'm going to flick back to that tape pen. We're just doing cardstock to cardstock there. So my tape pen's a perfect choice for this one. So this one's actually going to be the front panel of that fold back like so.
Our first look shows on a weekend are so popular, and I'll say hello to everybody, but we have so many people joining us, and we'll say hello to everybody in a few minutes.
And then I'm just going to run a little bit of tape down each side of that one, and I'm going to put this one. So it looks as if it's got both of the panels on. Well, it has got both of the panels on, but one of them's inside and one of them's outside. So you can see we've got that detail going on there. And then I've just got a nice little sentiment, and I didn't want to do anything too big because I don't want to cover up all that lovely detail. So I've just gone with a reasonably small, and I'm just going to bring that down to the bottom. And then I've got a little ribbon to pop up in the top corner there, just to accent it. Okay, so again,
you don't need much more on it, do you?
Out of the way. And you can see we've got that lovely shaping going on. And if I stand you that one up, you can see those dies do all the work. They really do. They are beautiful. And I love the fact that you've got those options with it. You know, it may be that you didn't want to put the one on the inside, you just want the one on here. It may be that you know, that you had in a different combination. You saw the one that had, this is actually the beginnings of that Z fold. You saw the one earlier that had the band done with them horizontally. You know, so change your dies to go this way. Maybe not this one that's got a definite sort of orientation, but the ones that don't, you can change them to that horizontal alignment as well. So yeah, fabulous. Absolutely beautiful, and thank you. So that is the Fox Club from our shaped panel dies. Right, I did say we'd say hello to everybody, so I've got a lot, so I'll go through them as quickly as I can. We've got Lois saying good morning everyone from Ohio. Alicia says good morning and greetings from Arkansas. Good morning. Beth Valone says happy Saturday, crafty friends from upstate New York. Charlotte Everett's here. All my crafting lovelies from here in Herne Bay. Zoe Carver says good afternoon everyone, and Charlotte Clark says hello all from Georgia, windy and expecting rain. Oh, that's not good, Charlotte, sorry about that. Now Lynn Blackledge says good afternoon, I'm now in from the garden as it's too hot now, tidying in the craft room. There you go, just showing off because we've not seen outside yet today, Lynn. Paul Print Times 4 says, good morning everyone from South Carolina. Windy and grey day here. That's not good, Paul Print Times 4. Rhonda Crawley's Creation says, Jan's top looks like sliced pineapple, so cute. Oh. Yes, I think, yeah. Might be able to see that. The shapes on it, yeah. Yeah, didn't... There's a lot of love for your top today, Jan. It only goes halfway down, look. It's only a top, it's not a dress. Yeah, I'm a bit warm actually because I still got my trousers on. I ought to have changed for the summer, didn't I? But head says uniform. Yeah. And that's it, you see. It is, it is. My black trousers are part of the uniform. Yeah, you do. It gets you into that mindset, doesn't it? It does. And plus I've been looking for a really nice dress and I can't find one. So, yeah, I want something nice, lighter weight that I can wear. Oh, you'll find it all of a sudden. Rebecca Davis says, hey everyone, I'm actually sitting in my garden in the sunshine watching. Paul Print Times 4 says, I love First Look. Diana Browning says they are gorgeous. All these are pretty, says Charlotte Everett. We've got Lynn Gear is good morning from Lake Placida in Florida. There's so many of you watching, it's lovely. Linda Borchette, I think, from Wisconsin. Lillian Kwok says, hi, Jan, Corrine and Jan. I saw Corrine having no rest in the break. Yeah, I was on a different TV channel, but we're fine. Carol Guy says, nice to see Jan and Corrine. Evelyn Kiefer's in from sunny Colorado, and Terry from Ohio. Colleen says, beautiful Lily, love this card. Lily does some beautiful cards, says Charlotte. There you go, Lily. Mary Pat 1000 said, good morning everyone from sunny Montana. And Charlotte says, the design team does such a fantastic job, so inspirational. Nearly there. We've got Janine in. We've got Barbara says, these cards and boxes are stunning. Thank you for sharing, and thanks design team, you're amazing. Now, question, not heard this one, Jan. Nice says, would a quick swish of the heat gun allow a clear peel off of the tape? Ooh, would it not set the glue and make it sticky? I don't think. It's not something I've ever done. No, it's not something I've ever done either, but I'm thinking to heat it, I think you're likely to release the adhesive in the tape. Yeah, I agree. Lily's just saying she thinks it'll go sticky. Yeah. It's all worth trying and feed back to us. You know, sometimes you find these things out just purely by accident, but yeah, go ahead, have a go. Or you do it on a scrap bit and see if it works. So yeah, I'd be interested to know that. That would really help. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not sure about that one. No. We've got Patsy from Colorado. Kathleen White, the good question here. She says, how do you know if your die needs to be embossed? That is a really good one, actually. Let me go back to that foxglove one, because this was an excellent one to show you what I meant. So, forgive me, because I've not cleaned it out yet, because I do that at the end. So you've still got some pieces in from where I've just cut it. But in general rule of thumb, if you have got a piece of metalwork that has got gaps in it, so for example, when you look here, maybe that's not the best colour to show you on, let's do it on a piece of coloured here, that's better. So when you look at, you can see the little foxglove parts of the flowers here have an opening in the die. Now the clue is if there's no cutting line around that opening. So you may get areas that have got partial cutting lines. So for example, all the pieces where the paper have stuck here, the little pieces that I've just cut out, have a cutting edge all the way around here. So it's cut that piece out and that's why it's stuck in my die. I'll need to clean it either with my brush or with my pokey tool later. But where the foxgloves are, there's actually an open space that doesn't have a continuous cutting edge around it, and that's the clue. So whatever your die is, whatever your piece of metal is, have a good look at it, and if you've got any open spaces, it might not be large spaces like this, you can see the detail at the bottom here, all this detail here at the bottom of the flower where the little stamens would be at the bottom of it in that sort of bell-shaped flower, have got openings that don't have any external edge around it. That's the clue. Those are the bits that will emboss. So the idea is when you get it in your plate sandwich and you've got this over the top of it, because this is silicone and it's squidgy, what happens is it pushes the cardstock into the die. And again, if I can get the angle right on this, I'm going to test our Charlotte now. If I hold it still, Charlotte, can you see where my fingers sort of pushing through here on this bit here? Yeah, if I take it out and push it, that's essentially what it's doing with your card. It's pushing the card into that gap, and that's where you get that lovely raised embossed piece in. Thanks, Charlotte. So that you get that nice embossing. So yeah, have a look. It's worth, not all dies have it. Some, you might look at some dies and think, whoa, it's all got cutting edges. It's all meant to cut out. There's very little area to emboss. If you have those embossed spaces in it, again, those are the ideal ones for stenciling, because whereas we've now got those lovely raised bell shapes for those foxgloves, you could go in with your little ink daubers or your applicators and apply ink to those areas. And I'll show you that on the next demo. I'll show you what I mean with that.
That would be brilliant. Thank you.
Hope that answers that okay, because it is a good question, that one.
Really comprehensive, so hopefully that really helps you, Kathleen. So there we go. So Mo number 2 says, hello everyone, both sides of the pond with a holiday weekend. Yep. Spring Bank here, Memorial Day in the US, but not a holiday for us. No, it isn't, Lily. We're here all weekend. Shadiah says, so simple and stunning, white, clean and simple. We've got Lynn Harvey. We've got Nice. I love the colouring. Rhonda went back and watched Wake Up Call. She got all of the first round, but the second round was really tough. That's what we thought too.
It was that second round, definitely.
Rebecca Davis, who's on the DT, she says she used her ink daubers through the die, then went back with her colour blend pencils to add shading and depth.
Yep.
Makes it a little easier to colour. That's a good idea. Thank you for sharing that one, Rebecca. Mo number 2 says that looks gorgeous. That colouring is amazing. Lois loves the card. Very pretty, says Anne. Beautiful card, says Suzanne Dawn. We've also got Deborah Pleasant here from Defiance, Ohio. Collins Corey says, good morning from Bridgeton, Missouri. Kathy Myers from Missouri. We've got Robbie from Alabama. We've got Ank, I think that is, from Germany. Suzette Sue says, hi, Corrine, Jan, Crafty Friends and CTV team from Prince Edward Island in Canada. Sorry there were so many, but I haven't had time to catch up. So I always think our first looks are some of the busiest shows. Right. Jan is going to be setting up her next demo, but I want to just show you a couple of the things that have been really, really busy today. And one of them is our shaped card bases. Now, I launched these on Tuesday, and I think you are just loving the ease with which you are going to be able to make your card bases, so that all of your other projects that you, or products rather, that you have bought, you are then going to be able to take these to those bases. So you're going to get 24 of each of the cards and 24 envelopes. So there's 6 designs, so that's giving you 144 card bases and 144 envelopes and 12 stencils. So we've got the shaped rocker. So you get in the card base, I can show you there. Everywhere that needs a cut is cut. Everywhere that needs a score has got a score. You can't really see, oh look, you just see that there, look. If you look just down here, you can see all the score lines and the cut lines. But then you get these stencils that enable you to do all of the mats and layers just like that. So you just put them onto your cardstock, trace around and cut them out. We've got our double stepper that's working the same way, card base and stencil, so you've got those there. You've got your trifold shutter, which again is a lovely one. I'm going to show you in a minute some different ways that you can mat and layer that using this stencil. You've got your cascading zigzag. I mean, that would be impossible to do. So you've got your two elements for your card base and all your stencils on that one. You've got your double diamond fan fold. That's easier to say than harder to say than it is to make, because you're going to get that. And then you're going to get card base and all the stencils again. And finally, you're going to get, oops, do it this way, your step card as well. So that's going to come just there. And again, you've got the card and the stencils. Now, then you can decorate them with whatever you want. Stepped rocker, you've got there. You've got your double stepper. So you can see it's all done different. Now, I wanted to show you this one because we're giving you a sufficient stencils on this. This is your trifold shutter. So you can use the thinner ones like that, or you can use the square ones when I made that one when we launched it. So can you see, this one set of stencils allows you to do the different layers. Your trifold, your cascading zigzag. So many names. I didn't know I knew the names of so many cards. Your diamond fold, beautiful, just stand up, look like that. And then also your stepper as well, which again, I just love how that looks. If you want those today, they are £50 or $70. Your platinum price down there, £40, $56. I worked out the other day, 25p for a card and envelope, which I think is amazing, amazing value. So yeah, if you're going to get that 144 cards, 144 envelopes. Now the other thing that you were loving that we showed you earlier is your magnets. Now you're going to get 3 magnets in each pack, and you're going to get 3 packs. So you're getting 9 of these magnets. They'll fit in your folders because they are punched to go there, or you can stick them on the wall, or you can store them however you want. But these are your full size, and you're going to get a lot of dies. I reckon you'd get all of your panel dies on there quite easily, because you've got all 8. You get 2 sets at the top, 2 sets at the bottom. Absolutely perfect. You are effectively on this deal buying 2 and getting your 3rd for free. Your platinum price just down here is £20.78 or $27.19, and that's going to give you 9 sheets. So they're working out, it's going to work out not much at all, just over £2 per sheet in the UK, or $3 in £2.30, there you go, or $3 if you're in the US. But the other one that you're really loving is your acrylic sheets. And again, same deal, you're going to get 4 panels in each pack. You're going to get 3 packs, so you're going to get 12 of your sheets. They are ring hole punch, but you can't actually just see it on there. They're going to fit in your ring binders, store however you want. But this is where you stick your unmounted stamps in here. So you're going to stick them all in there. Do them by theme, do them by collection, it's entirely up to you. They're going to stick in there, store them, you're going to get 12 sheets. Effectively, you're paying for 2 packs for 8, and you're going to get 1 pack of 4 for free. Now look at that, platinum price right down there, £7.98 or $11.18. Absolute bargain, 88p each. Wow, that is amazing, amazing deal. Right, what are we going to next? Right, Jan, you're going to show us another demo, so I can stop talking for a few minutes.
Oh, bless you. Right, we're going to move on to the gerbera now, one of my favourite flowers. I had lots of flowers for my birthday, actually. Oh, bless, I wish. She's just saying in my ear, was it for my 21st? No, it was my 30th, Lily. I wish. Well, half of me was 30 anyway. So yeah, gerberas, and funnily enough, they were the most beautiful, vibrant orange colour. So they do come in lots of different colours. But I always think when you're crafting, it's artist license. You know, you can go with whatever colour you please. So I've gone with like a corally colour for these. So each pack is exactly the same format. So we have got, again, the 2 outside cutting rectangular dies and the 2 internal cutting dies. And again, 4 3/4 by 1 3/4. So there's just that 1/4 of an inch in some of them. As I say, if you work on the 5 by 2 inches, you're going to be sort of safe with all of them fitting in there. So again, just touching on what we were talking about, you can see with this one now, all that daisy area has got all that lovely open work that embossing mat is going to push through. So again, we're going to do this and then use the embossing mat on it. So I'm going to cut all of them together on this one. And this is actually going to be, if I just show you where I'm heading with this, again, I've got my 6 by 6 card design. I've already popped some pattern paper in the centre. And then this one is actually going to go, and I took inspiration from one of the design team cards. There's a beautiful one that Corrine showed earlier. And I just thought, I love that design. So we're going to go for that lovely sort of box shape, and then it will all fold flat when it's finished. So I'm going to work on that internal panel before I stick it into my card. So the little tabs are going to be to stick it down, and I've got my score line in the centre, which means I can centre those panels now on each side. So a couple of pieces of tape. Remind me this time to take the tape off before I do the embossing, guys. So again, we're going to pop one on one side, just making sure that if there is an orientation to your design, that you've got it the right way up. And again, I'm just going to eyeball all the way round, excluding the tab here, that I'm about central. I'm not too worried if it's not perfect, but a roundabout. If you need to measure it, then, you know, mark it up with a pencil, but just eyeballing it is sufficient. And that's why we need to tape it down, because you don't want that to move out of place as it goes through your die cutting machine. Okay, I'm doing this wrong already. Ignore that, we just want the cut-in parts again, Jan. I'm just thinking, that's going to cut a hole in my card.
I was thinking, I wonder where Jan's going with this.
No, I often wonder where I'm going with it, Corrine. Honestly, I just want this one. So yeah, ignore that first bit, my apologies. I'm just thinking, that's going to cut a hole in there. I'm glad I realised before I passed it through the machine. So yeah, just the cutting element, Jan. That's all we need. We're not going to use those outside elements. And again, you can see, you know, the flowers growing up. So just make sure that it is the right way up when you're going to cut it into your cardstock. So again, a couple of pieces of tape. And I'm just going to line that one up, and I'm going to try and get it sort of reasonably level with the one on this side. And again, similar sort of area all the way around the edge, and then tape it in place. Okay, so again, I'm going to bring those plates in. I'm going to stick with the smaller plates, but because of that, like we talked about earlier, I'm going to turn it this way so that they're going through my machine with that narrower part first. Normal cutting plates on top, and then we'll pass that through the Gemini. And then I'm going to take out that magnetic shim, and we're going to pop the embossing mat. So it's always 2 separate passes. Never try and do this all in one. As I say, you will damage that silicone mat. That's the one that's got the most ply in it. So unfortunately, this is the one that takes the hit. And it'll come out looking like a little concertina bit like this. And I know, because I'm talking from experience, the other ones were even worse, the original ones that we had that were like the black rubber. They just used to completely lose it if you did that. So again, I'm going to leave it on here. I'm going to pop this one, and you want it over the back because you want this to push through your die to the other side. All right, so that one goes on next. Then my plastic shim to build up the layers, but I'm going to take out that magnetic one. Pop this one in, and then we're going to pass it through a second time. So it's always 2 passes if you're die cutting and then embossing your metal die. Don't try and cut out. It's not. Honestly, it is really not worth trying to cut out. A, it's likely to jam, so your Gemini will spit it back out anyway. And B, it will damage this one severely. Okay, so we take that one away. And then, I did it. You didn't remind me, did you?
No.
Honestly, I forgot my tape again. I'm that eager to get going with it. So again, I just need to get the tape off now. As I say, because it's been through the machine twice, you end up with it really, really secure, for want of a better word. But yeah. I'm not too worried because I've got one that I've already done, so I'm not too worried if it snags the cardstock. But again, as I say, when you roll that tape, it seems to do less damage to the card. There we go. And then we've got, can't even see it, let alone get it off. It's done such a good job. There we go. Maybe we need a coloured tape. I might have to suggest to Alianne that we add some colour to it. I can't see it on there. I need it in the light so that I can see the actual tape. There we go. Right, so we just take that off. Make sure we've got all that out of the way. There we go, not too bad. And then I tend to turn it over, and as I say, I prefer to release it. You can see how easy it comes away. All right, so we'll leave those two for now. And again, when we turn this over, if you just have a look at that embossed detail. So we've got all the embossing inside the gerberas there, even the veining in the leaves, and then even the little tiny ones. You've got some elements in the leaves here and the flowers. It's worth that extra pass. In this case, it took 9 seconds for me. If you're using it on the larger plates, 18 seconds, it's well worth it. So what I just wanted to show you, the one that I've prepped, I actually did again with my tri-blend brushes, and I used the coral shades on it. But we have been talking about using the ink pads, and I just wanted to show you this effect. So the die is locked back in nicely because it's been die cut. You can, that's not going anywhere. It's literally locked back into shape. And all I've done is just been and grabbed one of the new, I've not had a chance to play with these yet. Honestly, so I thought that's near enough to the colour that I've been working with. And I've just, you want something relatively small because it's only a small area. And like Corrine was saying earlier, you know, if you're worried about it going outside the die, then just mask around the edge with some stencil tape or some masking tape. But I'm just going to very, very lightly push this through that little, pretend it's a stencil, and just push that ink into that area. Do you know, I think I'm actually going to like this more than the one that I've done. Yeah.
And so much quicker.
So I get, it is, yes, it is. It's weird, isn't it, how it all works. So again, you can just add that little bit more depth around the centre there. And then I didn't grab a green ink pad, but you get the idea from this one anyway. When we take this off now, just look.
There you go.
So it's a way of getting colour onto your design if you're not into spending an age colouring. As far as your dies are concerned, you know that all the ink pads are water-based. So don't worry about it damaging. You know, it won't damage the metal. I usually just give it a quick spray on the good old cloth that does everything, and your die's as good as new. It's not going to transfer off onto anything else, and then that's going to go back in my pack ready for next time. So that's the effect you get if you're going to do with the inks. It may be that you want to lay a layer of colour down first with one of the pens, so you might use the lightest shade in here and then use the ink as a highlight over the top, or a low light, whichever way you want to look at it, with a deeper shade. And again, you know, lots of different ways. We've got the leaves in there as well. So if I take my green again and just show you pretty much the same technique as we did last time. So I don't want to spend too long on the colouring aspect of it because I have got some that are done. But again, and this is the beauty of having that lovely brush tip, because I can lay this sideways and I can get a lot of colour down very, very quickly. So you can see how this would actually literally just take seconds. And if you wanted to leave it there at that element of colour without any shading, who's to say that that's not absolutely fine? You know, you don't have to do all the shading. I want to get that across, you know. As we get more proficient at colouring, it's something that people aspire to do, me included. I spent a long time practising the shading element, but if you're not at that level yet, it's okay. You know, it doesn't have to go to that extent. You can just see how those brush nibs are perfect for just tracing along that element. You can see there, and then just even edging. And again, like I said, if you wanted to add that little bit of detail in, you can take the next.
Doesn't the alcohol pen work really, really well with the inking?
Yep, yep.
Because you think, oh, it would be two different mediums, so it might not work, but it does really well.
You could lay the alcohol down first, as I say, then put the ink over the top of it. But you can just see how you can get some depth in there, and then I would maybe bring another colour in for the centre of the flowers. Now, the one that I did at home, as I say, I did with the pens rather than... So you can see there's a good comparison there. If I show you those two, this is actually much more block colour, if that's the kind of impression that you're looking for. This is so much more delicate. You could actually pop some little gemstones in the centre there to create the middle of those gerberas.
I like what you said, though. The one you've done at home, if you then put the dye on top and then add some ink on top of that, that's
Shall we try that?
Beautiful.
Let's try that. Let's try that while we're here, because I can probably still get that back on there. Yep, it just locks in because it's been die cut. And then we can use that same, because it's a similar tone, just to add a bit of definition, rather than doing the whole thing, if I just add it as definition in the centres there. As I say, you can go once your alcohol, let your alcohol pens dry. Like I say, the alcohol needs to evaporate from them. It doesn't take long, but let them dry so that you're not transferring alcohol onto your daubers or anything like that. But can you just see how it's bringing that extra layer and that sort of depth to it? So yeah, it's worth having a play around with them. If you're ordering these, and I do this with a lot of my dies when they're brand new, is just get some cardstock, have a play with them. Don't think about a design for a card or whatever it is you're doing a project in mind. Just have a play with them and look at the different ways that you can sort of add the colour to them. Just have a play around and see what you come up with. And then if you find a technique that you like, you could make like a little mini library to keep with your dies and just write on it what you did. So lots of different ways of doing it. So what we're going to do with this one then, let me just get rid of the ink so that we don't transfer that. Like I said, this is actually going to stick inside here, and I've just put some tape on the back of those two that I said were the 1/2 inch tabs, and this is going to stick inside here like so. Now there is a little bit of give in it. When you make this style of card, it never folds completely flat, but it will fold flat this way and enclose all this inside. So all I'm going to do then is take the tape off one side. Okay, oops. And again, I've actually marked this so that it lines up just with the edge of the paper here. So I'm just going to pop it on there and line it up so that it just about covers the paper there. And then lay that nice and flat to get that bit stuck down. So that's that one. You can actually cut another 12-inch piece if you want, so that you've got the full length of it, and just score it at 3, 6 and 9. But it adds extra bulk to the card, which I'm not a fan of. I prefer to have that extra in the middle there, just as part of the design. And then this one, if you close that too now, it should land in the right place there. So we've actually got that to fold. You know, there's a little bit of bulk at the side there where you've got the double amount of card, but not a lot. And then all I've done, again, same paper pad. I had that beautiful paper pad out, so we've got that lovely summer meadow again. So I've done a panel ready for the front. And again, you've got both sides of that paper. So I've gone for the more plain side because I don't want it to detract from the rest of it. And then I've just used a thin strip of it with the heavier pattern. You can see there. And I've popped some ribbon. I didn't want to spend too long on this because I want to try and get as many techniques as I can get in with the panels. So I've got a lot of these bits prepped ready to just stick down. So that's going to go on the front of my card. So this is a 5 3/4 inch mat. And then the paper is 5 1/2. And then I've done the same for the inside. We're going to have 2 on the inside here. And then I've just done that technique like I showed you on the last card, where I've cut the rectangle to the size that I wanted it. And then I've used that extra external part of the die, this part, to cut the centres out to create that little frame. Rather than you could put a whole piece of pattern on there if you wish. But I just wanted those frames just to link it all in with the rest of it there. Whoops. And then again on this side.
Clever way to hide all your workings.
Yep. As I say, you can do it out of a whole piece. I have sometimes done the same 2 sizes to start with, but as I say, by the time you've got, you know, your front on your card and then the mats and layers inside, it can sometimes get a little bit bulky. So just by taking that element out, you can see we've got that design inside now. And then all I've done is just make myself a nice little topper. So I've just stamped out a sentiment, brought in a little bit of the green just to link it with what was going on inside. And then a couple of little flowers out of my stash there just to make, and as I say, I've done all this ahead of time because I want to concentrate on working with those gorgeous dies. So I just need to get my backings off those, and then we can stick that one down, and that's card number 2. So again, I was just going to go on there with that one. So again, you've got that front, nice enough, and then you've got that beautiful wow factor inside. Now I've left these blank this time, but again, you could put your vellum behind there, you could put acetate behind there, you could create these on top of something with acetate and the shaker elements behind them. But again, if I stand that one up, you can just see there that technique. As I say, I took the inspiration from the one you showed earlier, Corrine. I thought it was a lovely design. You can add extra embellishments inside if you wish, but I wanted to just show those panels off beautifully.
And they really are, aren't they? Absolutely gorgeous. And you are loving it. There's so many comments coming through. Right, I've got a question. It's not to do with these. Rhonda says, can you add ink of some type to add colour to glossy highlights? I would have thought so.
I don't see why not. It would water it down. You'd need to be careful. I wouldn't use a watery ink like a liquid ink.
No, I read that, you see.
But I'm trying to think.
I would do it afterwards, once they're dry. I read it as once they're dry.
What? Oh, do you mean after the... I thought you meant to colour the liquid.
I don't know, but I read it as put your glossy highlights on, let them dry, and then colour it with your inks.
Not with the inks, because the inks wouldn't adhere to that medium.
Pen,
you could probably get away with alcohol pens.
Yeah.
The way I read that was, could you colour the actual highlight? And yes, what I'm thinking is if you put your ink down onto your mat, and then the highlights on top and mixed it with something. But then you'd have to get it from the surface to wherever you were putting it. So you might need like a little palette knife or something.
Yeah.
It depends. You perhaps wouldn't have such precision.
No.
Or you could mix. You could maybe get away with mixing it. I don't know how you get the ink into one of these though. That's another one that would need a little bit of experimentation.
Straight away I read it as, because I'm thinking of, you know, our clear gems.
Yes.
Because you can go over those with the alcohol pens, and I just thought, oh, same
and
technique.
you can do that. You could actually, if you've got a craft mat, you can pop your highlights and make your beads.
She does say before it's dry. She's just come back.
It's again, that's not so. I'm loving all these ideas today. I want to go home and play. I might have to have a play in the break. It's not something I've tried, but as far as I'm aware, thinking of how the glossy highlights is formulated, I don't see why it wouldn't take colour. That's something that's worth experimenting with. And again, let us know what your outcomes are.
There you go. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Right. Question. Will the acrylic stamps fit on the storage panels? We're not quite sure what Robbie is asking here. It's basically, your storage panels are just roughly A4. So you can get as many stamps as you can fit on an A4 sheet onto there, Robbie. So I'm not quite sure what you're asking. It says, will the acrylic stamps... Do you mean, will acrylic stamps adhere to it?
Yes.
Yes, and the answer to that is yes. Yeah, so your red rubber, your acrylic and your photopolymer all adhere to that. Anything that clings, Lily is saying to me, will stick to there. So I think it's, will they adhere rather than will they fit? So yes, so that, there you go. Right, the good rule is if it sticks to your rocker block or acrylic block or whatever you want to use, it'll stick to your acrylic sheet. So that's the sort of rule of thumb. So there we go. There we are. That's easy there. Rhonda said, oh, if you had cut the whole thing out, you could have put acetate behind and then popped it back on.
Yes, there's always a way around it, yeah. Yeah, there's always a way around it. Or suddenly your design turns into a different design.
I know.
Yeah.
Our social superstar Susie is loving that you added that bit of colour. Now, Roxanne said, what is a measure of the inner panel? Well, it was just...
It's about 1/4 of an inch less than the outer panel. So, for example, with this one, the outer panel was 1 3/4 by 4 3/4. So the inner panel is 1.5 by 4.5. So they're about 1/4 of an inch, the inside panel, less than that rectangular cutting die that cuts out the next element. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Jane said, how do you do the outer frames? But you've just explained that by cutting a piece and then just cutting the die cutting into it. Barbara McNeil loves this card. What a gorgeous card, says Crafty Angie. Barbara McNeil says she wants to borrow your brain when she's creating cards, please.
Oh, trust me, you don't want to be in my brain.
Lois says, beautiful card, thank you, Jan. Another beautiful card, says Lynn. What a beautiful card, Jan. Love it, says Carol Guy. Fabulous, Jan, says Jane. Lovely card, says Anne. So much love. Gorgeous card, Jan, says Mary Pat 1000. Rhonda was confirming before it drives. Oh, Terry says, save this video to my Jan folder in my YouTube library for when I order these.
Oh, bless.
Friday. Yeah. Friday, don't forget, get in nice and early and you'll be able to get these. Now, I think the reason that Rhonda might have asked it is because Sheena added the inks to the glossy highlights, then painted with them.
Right.
That might be why it's like that. Anne also says Sheena did something like that, although I can't remember what colouring medium she used, made a lovely stained glass effect.
Yep.
There you go. Oh, Donna says you could use mica powder also in glossy highlights, I'm thinking.
Yeah, anything like that.
You see, a lot of craft. This is what's so good, is come in with your idea, your questions.
You could sprinkle glitter over it as well. Once you've put it on wherever it's going, sprinkle fine glitter over it and let it dry with the glitter in it as well,
Come in with your questions, we'll give you our take on it, and our lovely viewers will give you loads more as well. Now, we've mentioned something a couple of times, which is our masket tape, and you'll see I use it all the time as well. I used it the other day for a demo I was doing, and I've forgotten which one it was, because I remember I cut whatever it was out and stuck the masket tape onto there. So, what is masket tape? Masket tape is it's like a lightly sticky thin paper. It's probably about the same as copier paper. And what you do is you can use it just to mask whatever you're doing. So very often, if I want to mask a stamp, I'll stamp the stamp onto here and then die cut it out. Then cut it out with my scissors or use my die, however you want to use it. But basically, it's to create your masks for when you're doing things like your stamping. Now, each roll has 32.8 feet, 10 meters. So you've got 20 meters of masket tape here. What we're giving you the offer today is if you buy one, we're going to get you another one for free. $7.99 or $9.99. Your platinum price is coming down to £6.39. $7.99. We don't always have this in stock, but it's worth getting it. I use it all of the time, and I have to admit I am still on my first roll. It's 10 meters because the chances are you're only going to use a small piece at a time, but to get two rolls, 20 meters, that's going to last you a long time at £6.39 or $7.99. Don't even want to work out what that is per metre. It's 30p a metre, 32p a metre. There you go. How about that? That's impressive. Right, now we're going to have a quick look at a video. Did you say our Gemini VT? I think you did. So this is a lot of interest in this. We have got launching on Tuesday our Gemini 2. Take a look at this.
Get ready to meet the Gemini 2. We have been counting down the days and now it's just around the corner. The Gemini 2 is coming here on the 30th of May. And I just can't wait to introduce all of you guys, our wonderful Crafters TV community, to this, our Gemini 2. It's our brand new, improved, smarter, faster, and just all-round amazing die cutting embossing machine. Now we've added some innovative and pretty exciting new features and updated functions, and with all of that newness, we haven't cut back on anything. The Gemini 2 has all of the power, precision, and performance of our entire Gemini family. It will be available to buy on the Crafters Companion website on Tuesday the 30th of May. This will be a day to remember, so make a note to join Leanne and the whole team right here on Crafters TV for the official big launch of our Gemini 2.
Here at Crafters TV, it couldn't be easier to get your hands on the latest crafty must-haves. Leave the hard work to us while you shop from the comfort of your own living room. Head to the Crafters Companion website to see our full crafty range, or hit the Shop the Day button to see all the new and exciting products featuring on Crafters TV. Once you've filled your cart, leave it to us to get your crafty goodies to you in super quick time, so you can get on with being creative. Crafters Companion, making crafty shopping a breeze.
We get to know people from places and walks of life that we wouldn't come across in our everyday life if it wasn't for Crafters TV and doing what we do.
I got so many lovely comments from people when I started doing the presenting, and it was just really such a lovely feeling. And it's nice that people keep messaging in. You know, we see the same people. We know you can build up that kind of relationship with those people. So it's just the fact that people like what we do and they're pleased. And I do love it when people send us photographs of the items that they've made.
We talk about customers, but really they go in as a customer, come out as a friend. The support that I get is amazing. The messages I get are amazing.
Me personally, it is personal interaction. I've never had the best of health. I've always been open about that with our viewers at Crafters TV. So many people are in the same situation as me health-wise. Other people have got a completely different health issues. They understand and they relate to what I'm going through, what others are going through. So whether we interact on a crafting basis or whether we interact on a health basis, a personal basis, we're all there to support one another. It is incredible.
The reaction of viewers when they come to meet us is worth all of the early mornings when we have to get up for our early morning shows.
Some of the customers come on as craft ambassadors and things like that, craft along with us, and being able to actually chat with them on air. I love it. I really love that connection with them.
We've had lots of shows where we've done like craft alongs, especially where we've had viewers craft along with us. We had a particular viewer, Joy, who joined us once before, and she literally made me cry on air, and Joe, because the things she said about us, it really was quite humbling that there are people out there that watch us and invite us into their living rooms and really treat us like family.
Who's excited about the Gemini 2 launch on Tuesday? I think there are going to be a lot of people excited about that. Not long to wait now. It's going to be very, very soon. Now, we've got a couple of comments and then we'll go through the other things. Oh, bless you. Robbie says, I love all your makes, Jan. You too, Corrine. You both are my faves. Thank you. Now, Rhonda's put some context behind her question. She says, the reason I was asking about colouring the glossy highlights is because I want to try using the deboss side of embossing and filling the holes with coloured glossy highlights. Just a weird thought. Now, an easier way, how about colouring the deboss with your alcohol pens, then filling it with your glossy highlights, because the colour will reflect through.
Yep, that's an alternative way.
That's what's come. That might be easier.
I think colouring the glossy highlights for that particular purpose would be amazing.
Yeah, there you
go. If that works, we need to see that one, please.
Yes, if you get that, make sure you send in the pictures, Rhonda. And Rebecca Davis says, wouldn't be without my masket tape is the best one I've used. And I have to admit, I've only been using it since I've been here, and It's faultless, absolutely brilliant tape. So yeah, if you do like doing your stamping and building up your layers, then make sure you get that on that deal. Right, have a quick look at this. This is your sentiment mystery bag. We've just popped the details there on the screen for you. Over nearly £60 or $82 worth of product. Your platinum price is going to be £20 or $28, and you're going to get double points on that. Now the link through all of this is sentiments. They come from different collections. There's dies, stamps, all sorts in there, and they've all got that sentiment bent to them, so you're going to love those. That's a brilliant deal. We've also got our Memorial Day, Bank Holiday extravaganza bundle sale on the website. Make sure you go and have a look at that. Or every single bundle that we've put together in that event has got 70% off the recommended price. Amazing savings. So maybe that's your time to stock up with some of the deals that you wanted. So yeah, all the questions caught up. So let's see if Jan can show us her third demo using the floral panel dies.
Right, so we're going to do something different again this time. So the actual die cutting is very similar. We're going to die cut, we're going to go emboss, but we're actually going to work on black card this time. And what better to use with black card than the gilding wax. So rather than colouring this time, we're going to go black and gilding. All right, so a completely different technique, and it's amazing how different it looks. So again, exactly the same idea as far as concept, and again you can see on the packaging there that we're 4.9 by 1.9, so you almost got your 5 by 2. So as I say, that's a good guideline for that outer sort of rectangle. Now what I'm going to do this time is I am actually going to cut the whole thing out this time. I am sure. I need a topper this time. So again, whether I actually take the tape off or not is a different matter, but we will, I'm going to put less tape on this time. Less tape. So again, all I'm going to do is place the rectangle, and then you've usually got a good 1/8 of an inch gap at least, and you can see there that there is a gap all the way round to make sure that your dies are not overlapping. So that's the biggest tip I can give you when you're actually cutting these out together. Now my tape's so small now that it's only just holding it in place, but you can see here where I've actually got a line all the way around the die there where they're not touching. The last thing you want to do is have those overlapping when it goes through something as powerful as your Gemini. If you're not 100% confident with this, you can cut out the rectangle and then just use your tape to tack the rectangle to your cutting plate and then pop the insert die inside, or vice versa. You can cut the insert into the card first and then place your rectangle round it, but it is possible. I'm going to show you, we can do that together, and we're going to do that embossing feature as well. So the first pass is always the cut. So that one's going to go in first with both of my shims for the cut, and we'll pass that through on pass number 1. And then I'm going to remove that magnetic shim and the tape, remember the tape, Jan, remember the tape. So turn it over, all right. I'm going to take that one out. I'm going to turn it round for the purpose of this now because it's done the cut. I'm going to pop that one in, and then just before we actually do the whole thing, let's get rid of the tape because it's embedded pretty much now in the card. I don't need it to keep it in place. Once you've die cut, it's usually actually, and you can get away, I can take this one away. I don't actually need that bit. I could even get away with taking that away. I just want the bit that's got the detail in, okay? So put my shims back on top of there, and then we're going to pass it through. That second pass, as I say, is well worth it to get, particularly for this technique, because I want that raised area to work with the gilding wax. So if you're going to do this particular one, this is definitely the one that I would pick to do that embossing technique with, to do the embossing with the die. And you can see all those open spaces again in that flower. This is the hellebore, is where it's actually going to have pushed that cardstock into there. So again, get rid of the plates out the way and turn it over, release it from there, okay? And again, even on the black card, I'm hoping we can just about pick up, I think it's that way, that beautiful detail. It just makes such, I can't impress on you, just for the sake of that extra pass through the machine, just how much of a difference it makes with that embossing on there. And as I say, for this particular technique, I need to be able to feel that raised area. So I've got my favourite, which is my King Gold on there. Little tiny bit, okay. So I think, have we got all the gilding, all the colours in stock, Lily? She's going to have a little look for us, because they do tend to come and go. So again, just lightly first.
It really is less is more, isn't it? With
it is, and you can always build it up afterwards, because I actually want quite a good covering on here. Do you know, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Silver's out of stock.
There's 4 golds to choose from, but the silver one, I know when I worked in the store, we could not keep the silver on the shelf for love nor money.
Silver's the softest, I think, out of them. It's often a lot runnier.
And there's only 1 silver, whereas there's 4 golds to choose from. So it's a 1-to-4 ratio. It's not rocket
King
science.
Gold, Empire Gold, Renaissance Gold.
Antique.
Antique Gold, there you go. Couldn't remember the other one.
Oh, I love my gilding wax. Absolutely.
And they last so long, don't they?
In all the time I've been crafting, this is my favourite one. I've actually had to replace my pot.
Have you?
This is pot number 2.
Wow.
In the whole time I've been crafting since I discovered Pebeo gilding wax, and that's a long time. I actually got to the bottom, it had dried in the bottom because there was only a little bit left. So I thought, right, I'm going to treat myself, and I actually bought myself a new pot.
Aren't you? Reckless.
Yes, totally reckless. So yeah, I want this actually quite heavy on here. So again, you can keep building it up.
It's still better to go in light and build it up, I think, with gilding wax.
It is, because
otherwise
if you just go straight in, you're just going to get that fingerprint, and it's not easy to get rid of that. If you look at this now, you can see that gorgeous sheen on it, and I'm going to buff it up in a second. So again, just to get rid of the excess wax, and I've said this many times, I do not know what are in the baby wipes that remove something that's wax based, but hey ho, there we go.
Yeah, it's worth getting off your glass mat, because these are furniture grade waxes, so they will stick to your mats.
And then just with a soft cloth, which is my all-purpose cloth, does everything, you just want to give it a nice, so I'm applying a fair bit of pressure. It's almost as if you're trying to rub it off, and you're not, it won't come off, but that's the kind of pressure that you want on it. It's not just sort of light over the top, you're actually pressing it and buffing it at the same time, and it's amazing what a difference it makes. Now obviously be careful, because it is a die cut, you know, so you want to make sure it's well anchored, otherwise you're going to rip it. But it does make, if I show you the lustre on, I can see it coming up now under my my eyes here, but if I show you the difference on it now on that lustre, just look at the shine and the shimmer on there.
Wow.
It does make it, again, it's worth doing.
That
so
is
you've just
gorgeous.
got that beautiful shimmer on it.
It looks like a piece of copper or something, doesn't it?
So what I've done with that is I've done exactly the same, and I've mounted it onto some of my favourite cardstock. The matte, the satin mirror card out of our luxury pack, so the gold there, and I've popped it on the back, all right? So I think we've got all the luxury card on the website there. So, and then I've also done the same thing with the second pattern. So you can see this is the alternate pattern. I think that wants to be that way, yeah, that way up, that's it. So I've done exactly the same there, and then I've just popped some little gems in the centres of the flowers on those 3. So we're going to do like a triptych design with these ones where we use all 3. We've used 2 panels on the last 2. I'm going to go for the 3. So again, I've kept it very, very simple. I've gone for a black card base, which is our matte black cardstock. I've just gone for a fairly neutral piece of paper, because I don't want it to detract from what's going on with the die cuts. So this is from an old paper pad.
Is that textured or just dots on it?
Just dots, just polka dots.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's from an old 8x8 pad called Elegance, this one.
Wow.
Yeah, we had it, I would say probably a couple of years ago.
You've been to the bottom of your stash, haven't you?
Oh, it's all there at the side of me. Where I sit, 8x8s, 6x6s, 12x2, two lots of 12x12s. Oh well, that's only the ones that are out. She said, only 2 in my ear, there's boxes full everywhere else, yeah. Oh no, the most recent ones are on the shelf. The others, you won't be surprised to know, Lily, that they're filed in alphabetical order in boxes.
Wow.
Oh, I'm my own worst enemy. We were talking about this the other day. I says, it's a curse, this OCD. If anybody else, I'm going to say, I'm not suffering with it, that's not the right word, is afflicted by it, should I say, honestly. It takes over. It takes over. We were on about it the other day and I said, I find when I'm doing something, I'm counting stuff. Even though I don't need to know how many there are, just start counting automatically, honestly. And then I'm just going to put right across the centre. You could use ribbon for this. I've just gone with a strip of the black cardstock. And I'm just going to put this to break it up a little bit. I'd actually got the panels, and again, this is all about, you know, sort of having a play with it. I always have a play around with things dry before I stick anything down, and I thought, yeah, that looks nice enough, but I just wanted something to break it up in the background. So if you look at it like that, and then look at it with the black panel behind it, it makes such a difference. So again, this goes all the way across. I'm just going to use my grid there to get about the centre. So I'm not too worried if it's not perfect, but that goes all the way across there. And then when we put these back on, it just makes such a difference to that design.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah? So I'm going to keep the two outside ones flat, and then I've just got a tiny little bit of foam tape just to raise that centre one a bit. So these two, we're just going to keep totally flat. So I'm going to go the two outside ones first.
I was just about to say, do you do the outside ones first?
It depends what I'm working with. I do in general because I know how much room, and I want these to have a similar space, okay, round these three edges. All right, so I'm going to go with that one and place that one, and I'm going to do the same at this end. And then I know how much room I've got to centre the one in the middle there, okay? I think I've got that upside down now, but it doesn't matter, I'm not too worried. So again, I'm going to go this way and just have a look. Slightly wider at the edge than it is on the sides, but once I'm happy with that, and then I can see exactly, whereas if I was putting this one in the middle first, I'd have to measure it up and make sure it was centre, otherwise it puts these two off. So again, I've just got some, it's not very dimensional, but just some very sticky foam tape that doesn't want to come off. There we go. Do you know, me and foam tape.
Do you know, everybody's making the most of you being in today. We've got so many questions coming through.
Oh, send them through. That's what we're here for. The whole team. So again, that's going to go that way. And then just by eye, I'm looking at the gaps here. Yeah. And also lining it up with the other two panels. And then I've got a little tiny sentiment that just says happy retirement on this one. I think it's wishful thinking. One day. What, one day? Oh, that's going to cause some chaos,
you're never allowed to retire,
isn't it?
Jan. There'll be a revolt on if you're retired.
I think there's a clause in my contract that says you can't retire. And I'm just going to pop that one on top like that. So again, it can be any particular design, you know, but just a totally different way of using those dies, just bringing it in with black. So as I say, if you're not a colourist and you think, oh, they look a bit too faffy for me, Jan, I don't want to do all that colouring, you know, you can use your gilding wax on any colour. It stands out on the black, which is why we tend to use the black on TV, but you can put gilding wax on any colour. So again, the darker cards, it shows up better, but you can get, I like gilding on craft card as well, looks really nice. Yeah. So yeah, just another one.
There we go. Well, yeah, you're loving that. That is absolutely beautiful. So, Rhonda says she was going to try that with the glossy highlights and put a picture on Facebook. Oh, Pauline Pitt says glossy highlights mixes well with duets and opaque ink. There you go. Both of those mix well.
Yeah.
Rosalind says, which inks will stamp on matte and mirror card? Which inks stamp onto matte and mirror card?
Right, now then, I go rogue with this at home, all right, because anything that's got a shiny surface like that, I still might use my old StazOn ink.
Yeah, I've still got mine.
That was designed for shiny surfaces. It will even stamp on acetate. And you can get the black, and it also comes in colours. I don't think we stock it on our website. I know I've spoken to Leanne about it before with regards to getting it in, but it's not as straightforward as just buying one ink pad from somebody, you know, or one range of ink pads. So I don't think it's something we stock. I am told, let me get it right, which one's the solvent base? The waterproof dye ink.
Yeah.
Which is this one. Okay, so our Spectrum Noir Finesse, the waterproof dye with the watercolour brush on is a solvent ink.
Right.
Opposites attract. So if you're going to be colouring with a watercolour medium that's got any kind of water content in it, whether it be a pen or a liquid ink or whatever, you need a waterproof dye. The waterproof dyes are solvent, and I know that the Stays On is solvent. Now, something I keep saying I'm going to try and I've never got round to, but this would be worth trying. And it may need heat setting. Some inks need heat setting. So just a gentle waft with your heat tool. I don't mean heating it like you would if you were heat embossing to melt a powder. Just wants a gentle waft over on the low setting with your heat tool to heat set it. The Stays On does take a little while to dry. It's very, very, what's the right word? It's got like an oily texture to it almost. And it does stain the stamps, and it does take a while to dry, but it does dry perfectly on those surfaces. But yeah, I've yet to try this. I'm going to have to write myself.
Could you heat embossed onto Miri card?
You could, definitely. Yeah,
That's
the sticky
where I
inks
was
with
thinking.
the heat
That's where my
embossing
head
powder.
went straight away, was go heat embossed. There we go.
Absolutely, yeah.
There you go. Terry Anderson says, have Jan and Corrine played with the new Gemini 2? I can say, yes, I have. I was using it last weekend when I was in. Didn't you use it?
I haven't got it.
I haven't got it. I was using it here before they took it off the counter.
No.
It's dead easy.
It was on my schedule for today, and I got very excited. I was going to have a conversation with our Lily in my not in my ear, but she's in my ear at the minute. And then she didn't take it away. The schedule changed for different reasons, and we're bringing you the panel dies today. So I was like, right, that was very fleeting.
Yeah.
So yes, I haven't had chance.
Lovely to use.
Yeah?
Lovely to use. Tuesday, not long to wait at all. Rhonda says, I gilded a huge mirror frame and still have a bit left in the jar.
Yep.
There you go, lots of there. Joan Wilson says, when using the embossing mat, does the cutting edge on the die go up or down?
Your embossing mat wants to go on the sort of the back of the die, the cutting edge.
The blade side.
Like the reverse of it, yeah. So you want your die face up with the cutting edge facing up and your embossing mat over the top. Otherwise, it will push your cardstock through to the back of the die, if that makes sense. Think about what you're actually asking it to do. That silicone mat's going to squidge the card through. If you put it on the smooth surface on the top edge of the die, it's going to push the card through and deboss it through the back. So by turning the die over and having the cutting edge exposed, it's going to push the card from the back of your die through to the front of the die. Yeah?
There you go. Lots of questions coming through. So, about that card, Barbara says, wow. Mo number 2 says, that looks amazing. Beautiful, said Kathy Myers. Terry says, wow, that black strip certainly did bring it to another level. So elegant, says Taylor. Your panel cards are beautiful, gorgeous card. That was Sandra, then Lois. Melanie D, another awesome card, as is Barbara. Paw Print 4, oh, Lush, has to be card of the show. Now, this is quite... We'll just hopefully get through one more. Stephen Lee Guy says, I count 2, have to do everything in 7s. Rhonda, I always count like that too, says Jan. And I thought I saw another one I might have been. But then Susie says, oh my God, there'd be revolted if Nana Jan retired from Crafters TV. Donna Lee says, Jan, you're an amazing expert, you can't retire on us. And Kathy Myers says, Jan, such a great teacher. So there you go. You're going to be here till your last breath, Jan. Yeah, very much so, absolutely. Right, this is a show shopper. I just want to quickly show you this one more time before the end of this show, because it is absolutely gorgeous. And this is from yesterday. It's a large outline floral die showstopper. So you're going to get these gorgeous dies. Now just think of how you're going to use them. Jan, have you got any of the samples over there for this?
Let me have a look downstairs.
Have a look, because they really bring it to life. You've got the roses, you've got the peonies, beautiful, aren't they? Lilies.
Oh, there they are. I knew I'd seen them somewhere.
And cosmos. Oh yeah, I gave you them, didn't I? Damn me. Cherry blossom.
That was a while ago,
It
Corrine.
was. Hellebores. Oops, sorry. Echinacea and anemones. So you're going to get all of those, but on top of that, we're also going to give you your tweezers, your tape pen. Going to sneeze. Oh, sorry. 6 of your aqua tricolour pens in that gorgeous range of colour. So 6 pens is going to give you 18 colours. Heat resist acetate, all 12 sheets, and 24 sheets of your luxury mixed cardstock. So 12 sheets are going to be textured and 12 sheets are going to be pearlescent across those 4 colours. So loads of those there, and today's price on that is £99 or $140. So you're making a massive saving, but even better than that is your platinum price of £79.20 or $112. And I've just asked Jan to show you the some samples, just because I think these dies need you to see the finished samples.
How
because
many are there,
they
Corrine?
are beautiful.
6.
8. 2,
8.
4, 6, 8.
I found 6.
Oh, well, that'll do. Just people get a feel of them.
That'll give you an idea. And I've tried to find different ones as well. So again, I can't wait to get my hands on these. These have popped up on one of my shows later on in the month. So I'm going to get these ordered. They are absolutely beautiful. So this one has actually got some colouring behind it. And again, die cutting the outline piece and layering it up, stacking it up maybe 2 or 3 times gives you a really nice recess to either colour in, pop your glossy highlights in, paper piece in, that kind of thing.
And
then
we've
used the die cut to stencil behind. I think that is absolutely gorgeous. That one's Kerry, absolutely beautiful. And then again, just look at these. This one's from Sean.
I love that one, because just using elements of it, isn't it?
The cherry blossom there is really, really pretty, isn't it? Yeah, but like you said, cutting into it and using it slightly different. We've got, our lily on this one. So the roses there, absolutely beautiful. Who have we got on this one? Leanne on this one. Again,
beautiful,
love that sort of faded technique with that one. We have got no name on that one, so I can't give that one a name check, but beautiful. I love how it's had that sort of like reverse image on that one. And then again, Nicola, with that's been done with acetate and glitter behind. I think that is gorgeous. With
Isn't
the little
that
arrow
absolutely
card.
beautiful? And that's just a quick
that's just a
show,
few.
because we want to be able to make sure that you can get one more demo in, but absolutely £79.20 or $112. So our last demo for our first look of the floral panel dies. Please,
yes,
Jan.
I'm going to get messy again just to finish off with, because I can. So we're bringing the old inks in again. So we're going to use the rose. So I've tried to use all 4 of them for you so you can see what they look like. Again, 4 3/4 by 1 3/4. So a couple of them are just 1/4 of an inch short of the 5 by 2, but you get the idea. So again, same format. You've got one of them has that lovely rose pattern on, but I'm actually going to use the foliage side for this one. I'm going to use the leaves because I wanted to do a nice inky technique. So just very quickly going to cut it out and do the emboss pass again. I should have had some of these done actually, because once you've seen me cut them, it is all the same, but just pop that one down again. Pass it through the machine, and we will do the emboss because of what I want to do to it. So again, really quickly, how are we doing for time? We're okay, aren't we? So first of all, first pass through is the cut. So I'm going to turn it that way to cut it for the reasons I explained earlier. Okay. And then we're going to take out that magnetic shim and pop this one. So these all react nicely to that emboss technique for this. Like I say, not all dies have the option. Sometimes you look at it and think, well, there are no open spaces in the die, so it's not really worth passing it through a second time. But a lot of them do, and if they have got that feature on your die, you can see here all those little leaf veins there on the top that are open are the bit that's going to emboss. So I'm going to turn it over, yep, and I'm going to put my silicone mat, because I want it to push that cardstock through the die into those little leaf veins to give me the detail. And then this one goes in as a shim to build up. this one comes out. Please remember, if you're doing this, to take out that magnetic shim, otherwise you'll end up with all sorts. If it goes through the machine, I can pretty much guarantee it will damage your rubber shim. If it goes through the machine, sometimes the sensors pick it up and realise it's the wrong combination, and they will post it back out to you, which should be a signal that something's wrong. Okay, and then what I'm going to do this time is colour it with my inks instead of actually using pens. So again, I've tried to show different ways that we're going to work with it. So just very quickly again, if we can see, can we see the veining on those little leaves there? It's worth it. I just think for that extra pass through the machine, it just adds so much
yes, really see that
there,
now.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, and I've got a couple of greens with it being foliage. I've got my pigment inks again. You could do this, well, that one's water reactive. It should be pigment. There we go. You can do it with your water reactive inks. I just prefer the pigments are that little bit paler. So again, I'm going to go with the green topaz onto my either my craft mat or my glass mat, whichever you have handy. Similar to what we did before, a little bit of water just to loosen it up, and then I'm literally going to drag it through the ink. I'm not bothered where the ink goes. I just want to get some colour. You can see it picking up the green, and you get a really nice effect with this, because we're going to do exactly the same with the lighter colour ink. All right, so just abstract. Don't try and get it in particular places, otherwise you'll end up driving yourself crazy.
I don't know your finished result, but I'd have expected you to have gone paler ink first.
Now the reasoning, there is a reason behind that, and that's because initially I was going to do it all in one colour.
Right.
I was going to do it all in the darker colour, but then I thought actually it will look like highlights. So we're going to go with the Spring Meadow, which is a different family of green, but there's no reason that says you can't mix them up. Okay, so again, bit of water, and I'm just literally now roughly going to aim for where the gaps are, so that we're bringing that other colour into where the gaps are. All right, again, I'm not worried if it overlaps, I'm not worried if it misses some areas. We can go in with the applicator in a second. I just literally want a mixture of both those colours, okay, all over. Try not to get it too wet. Try not to put too much water down, but that will do the job for what we're after. And then I'm also going to bring in my applicators as well. So I've got applicators for the two colours. And again, I'm going to just take a little bit of ink direct from the ink pad and just lightly bring it into some different places, so that I've got a bit of a two-tone. It's sort of not necessarily where the official highlight would be if you were thinking about where the light source was coming from, but I'm not really bothered about that. I just wanted it to be sort of a two-tone shade of green. So again, there's no skill to this. There really isn't. Anybody can have a go at this. It's literally just daubing ink. You know, the messier the better, to be honest. You just want it to look sort of like a mingle of the two.
I think the two colours definitely makes it work.
It's just giving that light and tone to it. And then when you're happy with that, again, I used the gilding wax just to highlight those little leaf veins there. And I'm going at a speed of light now because I can see the time ticking away, but again, very, very lightly. I just want to catch that raised area where we've done the veining in the leaves. Okay. Doesn't need to be a lot, just that little bit. And yes, I'm going in the bin to retrieve my my wet wipe there. Oh my days, aren't we all right? There we go. And you can see now, let's just pop that away. We've got, you know, something that's coloured. If you'd have done this out of coloured card, you would only have had the one tone. You could have still added the gilding wax to it, but just by soaking up the inks, you can just see that gilding wax reflecting there.
Beautiful.
Again, I would give it a little buff, being very gentle with it. And then I've matted and layered it onto black.
Wow.
You can see I've worked a little bit longer. There's a bit more colour, a bit more depth of colour on this one, but you've got pretty much the same effect there, and then I've put black behind it so it really stands out on that one. And what I thought I'd do with this one, and again this is inspiration from our design team, because I saw this in the design team. I showed you the bookmark we'd just done, so I've just created a bookmark out of some card, and I've stuck black card to the white multi-purpose, so I've got a really strong base for it. Just designed the top myself and chopped the corners off, and then again I've got some foam tape on here, and I'm just literally going to pop this on. I didn't want to build it up too much, because if it's going to be a bookmark, you don't want it to be too thick that it's going to hold the book open too much. So again, that one's going to stick on the bottom there. And the paper was just a scrap out of my paper pack, so I couldn't tell you where that one came from. I've got some ribbon to just pop through the top, like so. Just to pop that through, and then I can trim the edges off there in a second. Well, I'll do that now actually. Trim those off, and then just because we can, and hopefully I've made you all smile today. There you go. So again, nice and quick, spend the time on this part. The rest of it is just matting and layering. And for any of you that wanted to know, the tag is actually 6 3/4 by 3 inches. So in general, it's usually the DL kind of thing. It's like double the width. So your DL is double length, as in double the width. So it's almost, I just wanted a little bit here. But again, really nice way of using those. You could do a whole set of them with all the different dies. You've got 8 different designs in total. Make those into a little gift box. Any of you that do craft fairs and things like, you could actually even put little messages on the back if you wanted to.
Oh, lovely.
So yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous. We are loving that. Thank you, Jan. So I'll quickly read your comment and then we'll do our vote. So Rhonda says, I love the peonies. My yard is full of them in different colours and they are blooming right now. Oh, you're a bit further ahead of ours. Mine are still quite budded, but then I've seen my cousin who lives in Cornwall, hers are out already. It just shows different weather, showing different ones. Terry Anderson said, Michelle did the black and white one, positive and negative. She watches too much CTV. Never too much. These make lovely bookmarks, says Anne. Melanie D says, love this technique. Gilmore says, wow, this is amazing. Has a nice goth kind of look. Sort of, but nice goth, yes.
Nothing wrong with goth? Nothing wrong with goth?
No, I didn't mean nothing wrong with goth. I meant pretty goth rather than, yeah, that's what I was trying to make, rather than dark. Crafting Queen says, wow, Jan, it's been like an unofficial masterclass both this show and this morning's craft along. Love your techniques and the way you explain and show everything so clearly. Thank you. There you go. That's from Crafting Queen. So should we do the vote now, and then I can show the stamps again in a minute. So how many have you got? 4, did you say?
We've got 4. Again, I had prepared 5, but the time just flies. It's like being in the old TARDIS when you walk in here. So again, started out at the top of the show with the foxgloves, all right, and just did those on that lovely fold back, showing both designs on there. So one was cut in, one was cut out as a topper, just to show you the design on there. That was number 1. Number 2, we actually kept the front fairly straightforward and we showed off both of them inside. So again, both panels cut in this time and framed. So that was number 2. Number 3, we went to the gilding wax and we did the black on the gold. So was number 3, doing the triptych one. And then number 4, we've just gone for a single one to make the little bookmark there.
Wow. Oh, I don't know how they're going to choose on that. That's rich and such different looks, aren't they? So absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, please place your votes 1 to 4. Our Susie will count them up. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Right, now I just wanted to bring you back to our weekend wonder. So you know we always do these. This will stop at 10:59 on Monday, ready for our 11 a.m. show, which is myself and Craig, I believe. So it's a weekend wonder, and you're going to get double points on this. Now, what you're going to get is nearly £60 or $82 worth of sentiment-based products. So you're going to get stamps, you're going to get dies, you're going to get a mix of the two. So you can see them all across there. These are what you're going to get. I know it says mystery bag. The mystery, they're not really mystery bag. Let's just call it sentiment grab bag. So you're going to get all these. You get your Say It With Flowers, your chalkboard, your punch sentiments. You've got your fancy sentiments, your masquerade ball, your confetti ones, and also the one there from your Frosty and Bright. So you've got a lovely mix, some are stamps, some are dies, and you're going to get them today. And look at that platinum price, £20 or $28. But more importantly, right down at the bottom, double points on that. So make sure you snap that up. That's only going to be here for today and tomorrow's show. Tomorrow, gone. That if you want that. Now, the other one I wanted to show you is our mystery bag. Again, not really a mystery, it is a grab bag. Now, what's in here? The main element of this is your tri-blend brush pens. So you're going to get 24 brush pens, which is going to give you 72 colours because you get them all in the 3-pen blend down there. But this time you've got them with your brush nib, and you've seen Jan using these all today. If I turn it around there, look at that gorgeous range of colour. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? That's just your 24 pens. That's not your 72 colours. That's just your 24 to give you a flavour of the colours. Now, £79.99 is what we pay for that any day of the week. That is a normal price, which is brilliant. It's just over £1 per colour. Brilliant. But this is a goodie bag. So what we're going to give you, I'll move that out of the way, are 13 stamp sets. And I'm going to go through these from our Natural Beauty, Tumbling Waves and Florals. So brilliant ways to use those pens. This one that our Jan used earlier, Effortless Chic. So that one won demo of the show earlier, didn't it? I need to get that. You've got your Dream More Work Hard stamp, absolutely beautiful, and also your Good Things Take Time. You've got this gorgeous wreath, which I'm going to turn around so you can actually see it on there. Look at that gorgeous wreath that you can build up and colour as well. It's quite a lovely size, is that. You've got Luscious Locks and a Little Surprise, which is so cute. Now, all of these are going to be beautifully coloured with those pens. Masquerade Ball, different one to win the Weekend Wonder, of course. You have then got Ethereal Beauty. Can't believe this is in here. This is your Bohemian collection. It is your Enchanting even floral feather. Absolutely gorgeous, but obviously there's not enough left of that to do a show. Bell Countryside Luminaires and Lanterns. Then you've got your What's the Night Before Christmas, and this is the Stockings by the Fire. And believe it or not, this only launched possibly 2 weeks ago. This is your Magnificent Butterfly. Now, this is a large stamp. I love this. And then you've got your textures and your sentiments as well. All of those are for free. All 13 of those stamp size. You're not paying for them. You're paying for your pens, and your platinum price is even lower, $63.99 or $95.99. So absolutely brilliant value. So if you are thinking of taking your colouring journey that little bit further, maybe you've already had the tri-blend brushes and it's time to replace some of them, then pick this up and we're going to give you all 13 of those for free. Give the ones that you don't need, I'm not going to say don't need, because you might already have them, or save them, you know, sell them on, or get rid of them however you want. But just too good an offer to miss. Unfortunately, it doesn't come in the pretty bag. There we go. Oh, just a minute. We've got Crafty C says, loving the show. Can you tell me the best glue to attach Yupo paper? And what are the clear single shims used for with the Gemini Mini? Thanks. Right, 2 questions there. Yupo, red liner tape.
Definitely red line tape on your Yupo, because it's not actually paper, it's plastic.
There you go.
It's made from a different product, yes. So I would definitely go with red line tape. Any of the widths, depends on the size that you're sticking down. But yeah, definitely red line tape. And what was the second part?
Clear single shims with the Gemini Minis. Are they for the...
That's actually the folder that goes through the Mini.
Yes.
So it should be like a little folder with a hinge on it,
yeah.
and your die and paper go inside there, and then it passes through the machine. Yeah?
There you go. Yeah, because the other one for the embossing folders is purple, isn't it?
So I'm assuming we're talking about this one.
Yeah.
Yeah? So it should have a little hinge on it. It looks like an embossing folder without any detail on it. Yeah, it comes with your Mini, and your die and your cardstock go inside here in the sandwich, and then the whole thing will pass through your little machine, and the pressure from the machine works just the same as it does in the large one.
Perfect, perfect. Yep. Okay. Oh, Sherry says, I love all the demos and techniques. And Susie says her vote is for number 1. But it's not your vote, Susie, so there we go. I'll tell you who's won in just a minute. But first, I just want to quickly show you. Garden Gnomes, 12 by 12 paper pad, 36 sheets. £10.79 or $14.39. I use this all the time, even away from the gnomes. It is a beautiful pad. Look at those florals, bright colours. These border strips are so useful. These are a little bit of fun with those. You're going to find that one really useful as well with the circles. You've got the florals. And then what I love at the back, you've got these little scenes. Again, really useful, not just for your gnomes, because look at that, there's nothing gnome like on that or even on this. You're going to be able to use them all the time. £10.79 or $14.39 if you want that. Right, now apparently it was very close between numbers 2 and 3. Which is 2 and 3? Oh, that's the peach one and the gilding wax. Can you guess?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's not the gilding wax.
It is gilding wax one.
Does
Number
well
3.
Every time we do it, every time it does well. Yeah, it's just different. I think it throws a whole different light onto those dies, doesn't it?
It does. It really does.
Thank you very much, guys.
Absolutely perfect. So we've got our two demos for demo of the day, which we will do later on. So there we go. Right, I just wanted to show you these one last time because they are proving so popular. So, because of the question asked earlier, if it'll stick to your acrylic block, your rocker block, your stamping platform, then they will stick to these sheets. You're going to get 3 packs of these, 4 sheets in each pack. They are tabbed, they are also punched to go into your ring binders. So the perfect way to store your stamps by theme, by collection, however you want to do it. You're going to pay for 2 packs, so 8 panels, and you're going to get 1 pack of 4 panels absolutely free. And your platinum price for that, look at that, just down here, £7.98 or $11.18. And how much each are they? 66p per panel. Absolutely amazing, really good. Now that would be why it's popular at 66 pence per sheet. Now the last thing, we've got something else coming up. On the magnetic panels, I didn't even pick this one up. These are the full size. We also have the mini on the website, but these are the full size. Same offer. You're buying 2 packs with 3 in each pack, and you're getting 1 pack of 3 for free. And they are going to come out at £25.98 or $33.98. And look at that, your platinum price, £20.78 or $27.80. Amazing value. £2.30, did you say? There you go. Really good value for your magnetic sheets. Again, go in your folders, or you can stick them on the wall if you want to. I know a lot of people do store their dies like that. Right, now, I know what the next show on. I know what the next show is.
Do you?
I do. And I'll get it right this time. No, it's not Second Chance Sunday, Lily. I know it's not Second Chance Sunday. It's our craft vault next. There we go.
The one.
So we are going to be back at 6 o'clock. I'm actually going to be on Hobby Maker at 5 o'clock. So I think I am going by 8 o'clock tonight. I will have no words left.
We're going to need a stretcher to carry you out on, aren't we?
I know. But if you want to see our craft vault, please join us at 6 p.m. Absolutely amazing deals. I've got quite a lot here that I've not shown you yet, so please join myself and Jan. I think I'll need your support at 6 p.m. and we're going to have lots more crafty fun. And please, keep sending in your questions, because we will be answering all of your questions later at 6 p.m. And don't forget to shop that bank holiday sale. It's on the website. All of the bundles, 70% off. There we go. There we go. Rhonda, my favourite crafty teacher of all time, Jan. Oh, Susie says, thank you for a fabulous show. She'll be back in a couple of hours. We'd love to have you with us. So please, go and enjoy the sunshine for another couple of hours, and I'll see you back here at 6 p.m. or 1 p.m. East Coast time. So yeah, until then, see you later.